Okay, in this tutorial, number 6 of the IOIO Security System from CRTC Electronics, we are going to add a toggle button that will arm or disarm our security system. So, in our main.xml, we need to add a toggle button, place it on someplace, resize it, and change the text on it. So in the properties on the on, let's change it, instead of saying on, let's change it to armed. And when it is off, let's change it to disarmed. Okay, like usual, we've got to go to the .java and add variables that will access that toggle button. And what did we call our toggle button? We didn't change it. Let's click on it. Let's rename it to TB for toggle button, and this is arm. This is armed. I'm going to call it armed. Back to our Java. Toggle button armed underscore. So it's not the same thing, named very similar, but not exact. And if you notice, I'm copying and pasting our other toggle button, which we will soon get rid of. It has no purpose at all. So we made the variable. Now we take our variable and set it equal. Link it to the toggle button that we have just created. Underscore. And if we save everything, we should have it pop up. Toggle button armed. Okay, now we have a variable that is connected to that toggle button. So what this toggle button does is, if it is armed and there is motion, it will send a text. So we're going to go down into our loop function, which contains 3 lines right now. And we need to add some logic. Our logic will be if the toggle button is armed, then send a text. So if toggle button armed underscore double equals, which is a comparison, TB armed underscore dot. Set checked dot is checked, which gives us a true or false. Let's just leave it like that. If it is checked, then do what is in here, and this will be send a text. Copy and paste from above where we used it before in the test text, and this time we will not send a message that says this is a test. You'll say motion detected. Okay. This is good, except for one problem. This loop happens many times a second. And so you will be sending out a text many times a second, which would be very irritating, and there's no stopping it until there's no motion. And so if that motion detector is on for several seconds, which it will be, you will have hundreds of texts being sent and received. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a variable that will check and see if you've already sent a text or not. Okay, so to make a variable that we're going to stick right in here that will check and see if the text has already been sent, we're going to go to the top. So as soon as this app is created, we will create this variable, and it will be a private boolean, and we'll call it text sent, and we're going to underscore, and let's give it a value just right now. So when it's created, it'll be set to false. Then down here in our logic, so we're checking to see if it is armed, and also before we text, we have to make sure and that we have not sent a text already. So exclamation mark in front of that variable. So if we have not set a text, which is true the first time around, and it's set to false, then we are inverting it, setting it to true. So for one time, we'll run through this statement and send a text. Then we need to set that variable to true. And let's also send a toast. And there you have it. One slight correction. If it's armed, our toggle button's armed, and we haven't set a text yet, we still need to say, is there motion? That's a good thing to put in there. So add that, just to make sure things are going to right. So there has to be motion, there has to be no text already sent, and it has to be armed. That should take care of it.